Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hi everyone, welcome along to a brand new video and a brand new series of videos where I'm going to be looking at all the story arcs used in the various New Who series of Doctor Who and kind of looking at if they worked or not. I mentioned that I'd be doing this in the last video I did a few days ago, and so I thought I'd get stuck into it, where today I'll be looking at, of course, the Series 1 story arc, with the main arc of it, which is, of course, Bad Wolf. Oh, it's irrelevant, but I just like to point out that It's not the most fun recording experience at the moment. It's like 31, 32 degrees today, and I've got my window shut, so it's a lot of fun. But this is what I do for you guys. 32 degrees in Britain in September. Welcome to British weather. Let's get straight into Bad Wolf. So, as a concept, coming into New Who, this was something very different to what they'd ever done before in Doctor Who, because in Classic Who, although you've got stories which are grouped together into 4 parts or 6 parts or 2 or 7 or whatever, you would never tend to get a proper arc running through the whole series of something linking the episodes together, although it's a bit minor in Bad Wolf, but something linking the episodes together to build up to a big finale at the finish. Because in Classic Who, finales, as far as I'm concerned, weren't obviously much bigger and sort of massive and more important than all the other stories like it tends to be in New Who, which is obviously a different way of doing storytelling and making a series, and it's kind of something that worked fine in the 70s and, well, through most of Classic Who, but I don't think it's something that would work now, so that's just kind of the fashion, as it were, to have an arc and a link between all the episodes through a series, which, personally, I love that idea, and through this series of videos that is going to take forever, probably, I'm going to focus on at least the main arc of each series, because obviously some series you've got a story arc, a character arc, all these different bits and bobs, which I'll always combine into one video. I'll always do sort of a video for a series, but obviously it gets a bit more complicated when, for example, the Silence, which run through 2 or 3 series, that'll be a bit more fun and interesting to try and break down and analyse. But there we go. So we start off with the Bad Wolf arc, which came in from very early on in Series 1. I believe the first episode we saw it was The End of the World. Let me check that, because I'm terrible. Yes, we get a very subtle sort of just a throwaway comment in The End of the World about the Big Bad Wolf. No, not the Big, that's the Unquite Dead, just this is the Bad Wolf scenario, I believe it is. I'll put up pictures or sort of relevant comments on the screen with each sort of shot or moment when Bad Wolf is mentioned, shown or referenced or something, just so you can spot every single one. I believe there's one in one of the classic DVDs as well, the animation of the invasion. Check it out for Bad Wolf. But that first reference kind of gave you nothing, but then we get in the Unquiet Dead, we get a mention of the Big Bad Wolf. Something's bad is coming. The Big Bad Wolf. Blah, 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 just kind of suggesting that there might be something more to this phrase, the Bad Wolf, than just a random comment that means nothing. And the first hint at a proper story arc for a series of Doctor Who. We get to the Aliens of London with the Bad Wolf graffitied onto the side of the TARDIS, and you get a mention of it in Dalek, I think, as well, and The Long Game. I think Father's Day as well. Most of the episodes have a mention of it, but it's never really pointed out or becoming particularly important. Only really in The Unquiet Dead is it actually kind of made aware to the characters, to the main characters of Doctor and Rose, and kind of Captain Jack as well, on occasion. Not then, but throughout. That's the only time where it becomes known to them that this is a thing. Oh, does it mean something? Oh, actually, I'm in a TV series, so obviously it means something. No, they probably wouldn't think about that. But so you had nothing other than that mention the Unquiet Dead that was of particular use or reference. There wasn't any more hints of anything going on until finally in Boomtown, the episode 11 of Series 1, when finally kind of the Doctor notices it, and it kind of shows that despite what we may think, he's kind of been mentally logging each reference to it, as he kind of says, oh, I've seen that before lots of times, and so does Rose as well, actually. So they've both been mentally logging it, even if they haven't said much about it in the show, kind of just ignoring it, I guess. And the Doctor tries to ignore it one last time in Boomtown and just says, oh, it's just a coincidence, whatever. Obviously he doesn't believe that, but he kind of rolls with it because he's got more important things to cope with, Margaret Slitheen and all that. So that doesn't seem, that's all pretty fine working. So up to this point we've got nothing really to go on of what Bad Wolf means or anything like this. We really haven't a clue, which I think can work and sometimes isn't a great idea, because with some of the later arcs, you kind of get a hint and you can kind of start to build up theories and ideas about what does this mean, what is it actually going to come to. A bit more in the Moffat era, I must admit. But I prefer that kind of thing where you can have a lot of theories and discussion about what is this all mean, what is it going to come to. Obviously Series 8 was kind of the peak of that with Who is Missy. That was kind of the peak of fan theories for a story arc and everything like that. But for this, you don't get any of that, you don't get anything. You kind of just get told Bad Wolf a few times, and then, oh yeah, that might be a thing because it's been mentioned before, but I've got no idea what it means. So that leaves it more mysterious, and by not telling you anything, but then doesn't give you the opportunity to try and create an idea or a theory in your head, or just share some fan theories and this kind of stuff, because you've got nothing to go on before the last two-part finale. So that's a way of doing it. I'm not sure whether it is the greatest way of doing it, but I guess it's a subtle arc, and so a lot of people I know prefer subtle arcs. I prefer involved arcs like Series 5 and 6, but a subtle, just background arc that sort of comes to something in the finale is a lot of people prefer. And that's how it proves in this series, so let's get into the finale. And so we get the Series 1 finale, Bad Wolf, haha, Unpulsing of the Ways, where just by looking at the episode title you start to think, oh, maybe Bad Wolf might be relevant to the series. I wonder, could it be? So we find out that this game station that they've all ended on. I'm not going to go through the plot of Bad Wolf and Find the Ways because you know it. You guys know the whole plot of Bad Wolf and Find the Ways. You must have seen it. If, like me, it's such a great story, you must have seen it many, many times. I might review it somewhere when I can get around to watching it again, or whatever. But obviously we find out that this game station is run by the Bad Wolf Corporation, whoever they happen to be, and all this kind of stuff. Starting to realise, oh, that's quite important. Maybe the Bad Wolf is more important with that sort of thing, but it's not. It's still not made clear what the relevance is, because at this point Bad Wolf is still just a name, a couple of words that don't really mean anything important at this stage, at least in the first episode. Then we finally kind of start to understand why it's been around the whole universe. We've seen it so many times, heard it so many times, and why the Doctor and Rose have heard it lots of times, which is of course the key moment when Rose is stuck back on Earth in Pulsing of the Ways, and across the playgrounds the massive letters of Bad Wolf appear across the playground, which kind of convinces her that it's important and that she's important because she keeps seeing it, and she connects it up. I can't remember quite how, but then she connects it up with the heart of the TARDIS thing and all that, and how important that is, and that she's got to get back to the Doctor to help him and all this kind of stuff. And so it's all starting to mean that Bad Wolf is trying to... It's the idea of the thought, the sort of words needed to convince her to go back to the game station, find out the ways to do it, and get back to the game station, which she of course does, thanks to the heart of the TARDIS. Not that that was a great idea, Rose. And then she gets back to the game station. We find out that Rose has become the Bad Wolf, some sort of essentially god of everything, just the god of the universe is what she's become, which is quite an interesting. It's interesting that essentially the heart of the TARDIS is God. You could say is something like that, because someone takes it on, they can just create and destroy everything and control it. Except you can't control it because your brain will explode, essentially. So we find that that's what it's been leading to, is that this Bad Wolf idea is the heart of the TARDIS, and that it has sort of been taken into Rose, and that's what she was going to do to save the Doctor and save Jack and save the whole world, save the universe and everything in the end. And that's what it was all coming to, which I guess is fairly satisfying. Kind of, I think it's a different arc to the ones we get in latter series. So looking at it purely from that sort of at the time first series, we think that you're thinking, it's quite nice. Lots of little words, this little phrase that's been leaking us through all the episodes, and it's created this sort of dramatic finale, final ending thing that rounds off the series nicely, and obviously causes Chris Ferguson to regenerate. So sad, so disappointing. He should come back, and he regrets it and stuff, but that's irrelevant for now. So that's how that all came together, I think, and I think it works fairly well. As I've already said, it's a different type of arc to the later ones, and it depends what you prefer, I think. Whether you prefer an involved or a subtle arc, and this is subtle, but I think Russell, it wasn't shoehorned in that sense, I don't think, because I'm just using Series 8 as an example because it's quite a good one to compare to. The Missy arc is completely just stuck on the end of episodes, or stuck in the middle of episodes with a little scene with Missy that just doesn't kind of make any sense. and just seems very forced into the episode unnecessarily, whereas the Bad Wolf lines, they're subtle enough to not feel unnecessarily put into the episode, or when they're shown in the episode and stuff. It doesn't feel like that, so I think that's better and just works better than the Series 8 arc in that sense. I don't really know why I'm comparing it to Series 8 the whole time, but there we go, it's just the one I can think of. So overall, I think it is a strong series arc. It's a simple series arc, certainly, and it doesn't kind of have too many random ramifications to it. Well, I guess it does, because the Light Touch regenerates. But there you go, it's a good arc. Given that it's a fairly simple arc, there isn't too much more to add. I mean, it's referenced a few times after the end of Series 1. Obviously, it's the arc of Series 1, but the words Bad Wolf are referenced again. Bad Wolf Bay when Rose leaves. The end of Turn Left, when suddenly Bad Wolf signals the end of the universe. I'm not quite sure how that ended up. I guess it's because not quite sure, but Bad Wolf becomes a signal to the Doctor that this is the end of the universe, and obviously the link back to Rose coming back in the end of Series 4 and all this kind of thing, and they're meeting up again. And then in Day of the Doctor as well, when the moment is Bad Wolf, just because let's have we love a good reference, and it's a 50th anniversary special, so why not, I guess. So there you go, there's not much else to say about the Series 1 story arc that was Bad Wolf, because there you go, that's how it happened. I think that's pretty much all there is to say in it. It's a solid arc. I'm happy that I feel like that Russell should have done something more different for Series 2, because, well, I'll get to it next time, but I don't think it's quite as different as maybe I'd like it to be. And it's a good arc, but it's not quite the sort of arc that I prefer, I think it's fair to say. So let me know your thoughts on the Bad Wolf arc, how you felt it worked within Series 1, whether you felt it was sort of satisfying, it all made sense, everything came together, or you preferred something a bit more to a story arc. Let me know what your thoughts are. So that's it for this video. Remember to like and subscribe, let me know your thoughts. I don't know when the second part of this series will be out, somewhere when I get around to recording it. Who knows, really. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Goodbye!